Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another day in my life. So this is our first year gardening here in our little fake homestead in the city / mountains. And so I'm super excited today to give you guys an update. I'm also going to be sharing some cooking with you. I made some delicious salmon tacos. I haven't made salmon tacos in so long, and I made the tortillas from scratch. Also, I made the most delicious Asian chicken soup. And I'm really excited to share that with you because it's our whole family's favorite new soup. We also got a chance to visit our friend's farm, which was an amazing time. I'm also working on listing a bunch of clothes and shoes to sell online, so I'm excited to bring you guys along for the process. And then last but not least, I decided to sit down with you guys and chat a little bit about life and my current beauty routine. So before I hop into today's video, I wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons. If you have not checked out my Patreon, I will link it down below. I basically upload exclusive video content over there. Recently, I uploaded a video on my experience with antidepressants. I'm also doing some story times. I talked about when Dan and I lived in a friend's garage. I've also been doing some deep dives into controversial topics, and it's been really cool to hear you guys' feedback and just have those conversations over there. So yeah, I appreciate my patrons so much. And with all of that being said, let's hop right in. Logan loves what he lovingly refers to as the blower. You can pretty much always find Logan carrying the blower or playing with the blower or asking for the blower all around the house all the time. And on this day, we decided to go and hang outside because it was so beautiful. And then I thought I would give you an update of our garden. As you can see, our garlic is still growing strong. The arugula seeds that Dan spread in the garlic is actually growing up. And then almost all of the seeds that we planted have sprouted. All of the bean seeds that we planted have grown, and all of our flower seeds have sprouted as well, except for the echinacea. So that was a little disappointing. I don't know if I'm just still waiting and it's gonna come up later, but nothing yet. And then as you can see, the pollinators have arrived, or at least the bees, and they have been buzzing around our raspberry bushes. And that's just so exciting because last year having raspberry bushes at my mom's house was just so magical. And now this year we transplanted some of her raspberry bushes in our yard, and it's exciting to see them actually growing. Like, the transplant worked. And then my angel just curled up in a ball in the grass and rested under the sun. By the way, I pretty much always now replace my bouquet of flowers in my kitchen on my windowsill once or twice a week. There's so many little wildflowers growing everywhere and tiny little dainty ones. So if you watched my recent baking extravaganza video, you know that I made sourdough tortillas, but I really wanted to make corn tortillas because honestly, the sourdough ones were just like, okay. So on this day, this was my first attempt, and it turns out it's super easy, guys. The directions that I followed were just on the back of the organic corn masa, which is basically, to my knowledge, just dried corn that's been soaked in lime juice. So that's cool. And they pretty much give you the measurements to mix in flour and salt and warm water, and you start to stir it and it becomes a dough, and it's that easy. And from there, I formed it into a ball, and then I cut it up into a bunch of little balls to actually make my tortillas. Now, I got this tortilla press on Amazon and it's amazing. I think it's like the tortilla press. It's the one I feel like I see everyone have. And so I will link that down below as well. I highly recommend it. And then when you press your tortillas, as you can see, you lay down 2 pieces of parchment paper so that the ball is covered. And it takes a little bit of like getting used to and finesse to get the tortillas off of the parchment paper. But I feel like that's just like everything, like making bread, it takes a little finesse. You learn little hacks each time you go. And yeah, they're so delicious. Literally, I don't know if we'll ever buy tortillas again. Then Dan had picked us up some wild caught frozen salmon, And so he had pulled those out of the freezer to thaw, and he handled the salmon while I made like all of the fixins for the tacos. We have not had salmon tacos, I don't think, maybe since we lived in Nashville. And we used to love eating them. I mean, I just love making tacos in general, and this is honestly my favorite way to eat salmon. And so maybe this is kind of weird, but I cut up a bunch of cucumbers, then I cut up my limes. I also pulled a couple of chives from my garden and I chopped those up. And guys, I feel like I didn't even do the greatest job of like any kind of presentation, but this taco situation was so delicious. And I already had some salsa fresca, they called it, or pico de gallo, made up that I had picked up from our local grocery store, Pilgrims, when I had gotten a quinoa bowl there the other day. And yeah, I just can't express enough how good corn tortillas are made from home. All right, so this soup is my mom's creation. My mom is on like a special anti-inflammatory type diet right now. And so she has like a specific list of things she can and can't eat. And so this recipe falls under like the guidelines of what she can eat right now. And Dan had tried it at her house and he had told me that it was so good and I had to try it. And so on this day, actually, Dan's parents were coming to town and we hadn't seen them in like a year and a half and we were very excited and we needed to get food ready for them. And when I asked Dan what I should make for dinner when he was picking them up from the airport, he suggested this soup. So I got all the info from my mom and she basically said to just chop up whatever veggies I wanted or had on hand. So I did just that: sweet potatoes, carrots, mushrooms, onions. And then I poured some coconut oil into a pan and I started off by sauteing my veggies. I kind of tried to just put my onions and my garlic in first, but I picked up some of the carrots as well. And then I kind of realized it didn't matter and I just decided to like throw in all of the veggies and get them going after I had cooked the onions for a minute. I poured in this organic chicken stock that I had picked up from Costco. By the way, I didn't show you guys these ingredients, but the coconut milk, the kimchi, the ginger, and the lemon is super important for the flavoring of this soup. And then that is the chicken, by the way, that Dan had pulled off of the rotisserie chicken that we picked up at Costco. So we've actually made this soup since then, and we did it with like an organic free-range chicken, and we cooked the broth ourselves because we cooked the chicken. But on this day, because we were in a hurry, we just did the pre-made rotisserie chicken from Costco, and this whole soup came together so fast, so easily. It was absolutely delicious, and the whole family just honestly had multiple servings. And I almost feel like this soup kind of made me like ginger again. I've always been a little weird about ginger, but the ginger in this was so good. The kimchi was amazing. The lime juice and lime zest, oh, I can't recommend this enough. All right, so this is one fun thing that we did when Dan's parents were in town. We made our way up to my friend Maria's family's farm. So they live about an hour outside of the city where we live. And the drive was beautiful because the drive everywhere here is beautiful. And I mentioned to you guys, it's taken a little bit for summer to start. And on this day, it was definitely still pretty cool outside. But everybody had a ton of fun, just like playing games on the farm and eating food. And these shots of Logan and Dan together were just like too cute. My heart was exploding. If any of you guys have ever wondered, yes, when I'm hanging with people, I really do tell them to just act casual while I film random shots like this. Now, Maria's brother brought us over to hang out with the horsies, and it was so sweet because Logan, like this whole moment left such an impact on Logan because he just kept talking about the horsies and calling them out by name. I actually forgot their name, and then when we got home and we were looking at the footage, he's like, it's Patton and Joey, and that totally was their names. So also, as you can see, all of that record rain and cold weather we've had out here brought out a lot of mud. Everyone's hoping though that it's also going to mean for like not a super fiery end of summer. So here's to hoping that we don't have huge fires this year. Speaking of fires though, we all hung out around the fire pit and it was super nice and dreamy and relaxing. By the way, my friend Maria is a really incredible photographer. She actually took like some of my favorite pictures I've ever had taken with Dan. I vlogged when we were taking these pictures a few months ago, but if you just hadn't seen them or you've never checked her out, this is her work and I will leave her link down below. So this was a very exciting day, guys, because I had finally gotten to the point where I had pulled together all of the pieces that I wanted to sell online, and I was able to not only see everything but also start steaming some pieces, because some of these had actually been folded away in bags from when we moved, because I actually planned on launching this little boutique back when we lived in Nashville, and then we ended up moving. So on this day I wanted to steam those pieces so that I could take pictures and get my listings up. By the way, at this point when you're watching this video, I definitely will have quite a few pieces up, but probably primarily shoes. So if you want to check out my boutique store link, I have a ton of pieces, like I said, that are either coming or are already on there. So I will leave that link down below. I'm going to be selling my pieces on Mercari. If you've never used Mercari, I'm going to have my sign up link. And if you use that, you'll actually get credits, like money towards your first purchase. I'm not sure how much. I think it's like $10, but I'll have my link down below. And yeah. So on this day, I decided to pick up sourdough cookies from Better Bread CDA. The girl who makes these cookies sells a bunch of other things too, but I was there way late in the day. She sells only on Wednesdays, but that was fine because I came in specifically for cookies, and I just have to say they were chocolate chip pecan and they are absolutely amazing. So chewy, super consistent texture, and the woman that runs it is so sweet. Hey guys, so I was gonna say I'm bebopping in because that's been like my word these last 2 days in my life, but I'm bebopping in, and that's because I wanted to say hi. I've been enjoying chatting with you guys in my last few days in my lives, and it seems like a bunch of you guys have been enjoying me sitting down and chatting with you as well. So today I have just a couple things I want to talk about. This is really in no particular order. I actually wrote notes down on my phone, but my phone is currently recording my audio, so I had to kind of like memorize the notes, but I think I'm good to go. And the first thing I know I wanted to talk about was my current beauty routine, or is my current beauty routine. I've had a few requests from you guys asking for me to share my current beauty routine, my current hair routine, and it's kind of funny. I mean, funny is maybe the wrong word, although maybe funny is the perfect word. But if you guys have been following my channel for a long time, you guys know that I kind of started as a beauty channel. Not really, but kind of. I've always been into beauty products. Actually, no, I'd say that a lot of people did consider me like a beauty channel back in the day when I started. I quickly branched out, and from the beginning, like pretty early on, I became one of those channels that everyone's like, you need to niche down. And I was like, I can't. I love to do so many things. And so, but one of those main things I used to talk about more frequently was beauty type stuff. Now, 2 things. First off, I will say I'm not necessarily as into beauty products and treatments as I was maybe when I started YouTube, or even like just within the last decade or so. So that's kind of the first thing. But the second thing is I have definitely developed way more of an interest as time has gone on for like clean beauty products. So that's the second thing. So my interest and my tastes have shifted. But the third, and probably the most important thing, and the craziest thing, I guess, which I feel like you guys are going to get a kick out of, is that I like hardly even use any beauty products right now. Now, granted, I don't want that to be my like long-term thing, but if I'm going to be transparent with you guys, which I'm going to, this is actually what happened. You guys know, if you have been following all my videos for a while now, or at least within the last year, a year ago, Dan and I went through a lot here on the internet, a like formal cancellation by people who just did not agree with us, misinterpreted things, saw the worst translation of who we are. You also probably know that it ended up speeding up our moving process. We were already planning on moving, but you know, everybody talks about cancel culture and how crazy it is for people. It was crazy. I actually made a video last year on my Patreon talking all about what it was like to be canceled. And, you know, we're still kind of dealing with, I don't even know what the ramifications, or just the results of everything that happened. I don't think anything will ever be the same for us here on the internet. And that's okay. I really think, you know, there was this pastor I heard say something the other day, and this does have to do with the beauty stuff. I swear I'm going to loop it back. But I heard this pastor say something, and he was like, sometimes your biggest blessing and your gift can come disguised as like your worst nightmare. And while that sounds dramatic, I wouldn't necessarily say last year was my worst nightmare. I will say it was way worse than probably what anyone watching on the internet would guess, like just what we went through and what we dealt with because of that. And I'm actually going to be talking a little bit more about that coming up soon in life. I'm planning on doing an interview with someone, and it looks like it's going to happen, and we're going to really dive into this more because it's literally crazy. Like, looking back, I can't believe it. I still can't believe how everything unfolded. So that being said, kind of two things to that. First off, if you do want to hear the full like story, it's not even as much as I was able to record and get down, and it's a lot more than you guys have heard on here, on what that was like and kind of what happened. And I was definitely more in a raw emotional state at that point when I filmed it. I have that video over on my Patreon, and I've actually been on quite the roll on Patreon. So if you haven't checked it out and you would like to check out all my exclusive content and support me and my channel, I will have that linked down below. Kind of because of everything that's gone down, but there's a few different reasons. I really put a lot more of my intimate stuff on Patreon. I've done some deeper dives into, I don't even know how you would word it, like philosophy, sociology, faith. I may be making it sound a little bit bigger of a deal than it is, but I don't know what words to describe it, just thoughts around things. But the reason that all ties into beauty stuff, like I was saying at the beginning, is because when we had to move really quickly, we had to make a lot of fast decisions. And so I have been getting products sent to me as a YouTuber for a very long time now. And I've always had like an excessive amount of products. I give tons away, or I have given tons away to family and friends. We would always do these like donation boxes at church where we would just bring tons of products to the church and let the girls go through it. And I've also done a ton of giveaways in the past, as you guys know. But when we had to move, we had to make a lot of decisions fast, and I just wasn't, there were a lot of ways I really wasn't thinking straight during that period of time for a lot of different reasons. But I basically threw a couple of products in my makeup bag, and then I kind of just got rid of everything else. There were a few products that we moved with across the country, but everything ended up staying in storage for about 6-ish months. And I really didn't bring very much. Like, when I ended up unboxing our storage unit, I realized, wow, I hardly brought any products with me. And the ones that I did bring were pretty much all bad at that point because they had been sitting in a storage unit for so long. And so what I have been it's almost been unbelievable. So I've been using all of the same makeup products since I moved from Nashville over a year ago. I was actually this morning like shaking the foundation bottle trying to get like the last little dot of foundation out of it. And a lot of those products were already on the older side of life, but I just it was this weird feeling. I don't know. It's been a weird feeling this last year of like, I was rushed. I've felt lazy. And honestly, like, I've kind of felt this feeling of like buying beauty things has seemed frivolous to me. I've just been so focused on our house, on our health, on just reestablishing our life and resetting up our life. I mean, there was one point, guys, where I was literally completely out of skincare products and I was using cuticle cream as face moisturizer. And I just remember thinking, I'm like washing my face at one point with like bar soap, and then I'm putting cuticle cream on, and I'm thinking, if my subscribers only knew what was happening right now, because that's so not me. But you guys know kind of a lot of the things that I did in this last year were so not me. I mentioned this before. I had completely stopped taking all of my supplements when I moved. My diet kind of, like nutrition and stuff, kind of went out the window until a couple of months ago when I miscarried. And you guys know miscarrying to me really felt like a wake up call. And immediately after, like, I tightened up the bolts on my nutrition and I immediately started taking my supplements again. And so it's just in every area of my life, like, it became out of rhythm, and I have been doing things that just weren't really me typically in the last year. And my beauty routines, that's one of them. I actually haven't gotten my hair done in like honestly, no, I'm going back now in my head. I don't think I've gotten my hair done in about 8 months, which is a very long time for me. I only go maybe 2 to 3 times a year to a salon. I'd say 3 times a year, but 8 months, obviously that's like a lot more than that. Side note, which is not a side note, I guess, since we're talking about beauty stuff, I have had like premature gray hair since I was like 19. Like, I started getting grays in my teenage years. And so even though I only have always pretty much gone to the salon like 2 to 3 times a year, I keep hair dye at home because I've always had friends that do like hair professionally that have let me bring home professional hair dye. I've just kind of had access to that the whole time. But now, being in Idaho, just making new friends, kind of just trying to get my head on straight, all of that just, it hasn't been normal, like I said. So I have been letting my roots go way longer, which is not something I love because, like I said, I have a lot of like premature graying. But then B, once again, as I say, side note that isn't a side note, I actually found this brand that is sold at Ulta, and I think they're called Depop. I can't really remember, so I'm going to pop the picture on the screen. And they're like a professional quality dye that you can buy at a store that isn't like grocery store hair dye, because I am not a fan. I don't buy like regular grocery store hair dyes because I have been told forever by all of my hairstylist friends that hair dye is really bad for your hair. This hair dye was actually recommended to me by the hairstylist that I did go to shortly after I moved here to Idaho. She was like, this is a great hair dye brand for you to touch your roots up with. So I want to attest to that. It really is a great brand to kind of hold you out in between visits. But the point being is, like, just so many, it's really amazing when you're going, at least me, not you, but we're going to speak generally, when you're going through hard times and really there is kind of part of you that feels like you probably should be taking care of yourself. It's pretty incredible how I feel like you tend to actually throw it out the window. Like, the times where you should be taking care of yourself because life is tough feel like the times where that's the last thing you want to do, right? Where you don't want to eat well, you don't want to take care of yourself, you don't want to work out, but really it's probably what you need. And now part of me is also just feels like I'm giving my body a break in a lot of ways from all of the beauty stuff. You guys know I've done some crazy beauty treatments over the years, but the point is my beauty routine hasn't really been there this last year. Now, I was really excited because about 3 weeks ago, I want to say, well, actually, it was maybe like a month ago, I came to the point where I was like, this is ridiculous. I cannot use cuticle cream anymore. Now, I stopped with the cuticle cream a couple months ago and I bought like a really cheap moisturizer from our local health food store. And it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't that great. And it was kind of burning my face. I have this like kind of rash going on around my nose that is flared up. I've had it before. I don't know why it's back right now, but it's back right now. And it kind of burned it. And I was just like, you know what? I need to get back on like a proper skincare routine. So you guys know, or you don't, but now you know, that I've been pretty into this whole like pro-metabolic world lately. And this, you know, like Weston A. Price, this concept of like nourishing your body through this pretty kind of specific diet. It's not super specific. It kind of, whatever. I'm about to go off on a tangent. You guys probably already know what it is. It's a focus on animal products and good quality fats. So no PUFAs. That's something that I've cut from my life dramatically within the last like 6 to 8 months. PUFAs, to those of you that don't know, stands for polyunsaturated fatty acids. And basically it's seed oils. And the concept is that seed oils are a relatively new oil, a product of the Industrial Revolution, and that it actually causes inflammation in our body and like a host of problems. And so there's a woman within this whole like community. Her name is Noelle Covry. If you follow the pro-metabolic world, you probably know who she is. And she has a skincare line called Forever Healthy Hair, which I know is kind of weird that that's the skincare line, but she does also sell like a hair care product as well, which actually came with my pack because when I was on her site, spoiler alert, I ended up buying those products. And when I was on her site like 3 weeks ago and I'm clicking around comparing prices of things, trying to decide what to get, she had a sale on a kit that included a product called Mainstay for your scalp. So I actually ended up getting that too. So I got to be good about using that more regularly because the reviews on that product are amazing. But I have been using her skincare regimen since I got it maybe 2 weeks ago ish, every day. And I have been loving it. And I feel like I'm going to feel this way about like all of my new beauty products as I re-implement them because I've been so like detached from my beauty products and not really like, I'm not very extra about things for the last year. And so now as I just continue to dip back into renormalizing my life and getting it back to a place that I want it, one of those things is I need like some new makeup. One of those things, I actually really need to get my hair cut and done soon in life. The sun's behind the clouds right now. Anyways, I feel like I'm really going to be able to tell a big difference, and it's going to be really enjoyable because even just implementing skincare back into my routine has felt great. And as I mentioned to you guys, which is kind of a subject change, but not, after I miscarried, when I re-implemented all of my supplements and stuff, that felt really great and really right. And right around that same time, we kind of did a turbo effort to unpack some more stuff from the garage. And then I ended up finding my essential oils, and that felt really great to re-implement. And then right around that same time, we ended up purchasing some plants for our house, and that felt really great to re-implement. And so all of these things, just as we reset up our life, just feel really good. And so I guess to answer your question, I have nothing to share for you really with a beauty routine right now other than that skincare line, which is a saturated fat, like healthy, clean skincare line. I will link her site down below if you want to check her out. But that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, and I will try to remember to link that hair dye because it is really good. It does a really great job at covering grays and stays pretty put in my hair for a couple of weeks. I will say this, a couple more things before I go. First off, it's officially, I think, summer here in North Idaho. Summer showed up so late. You guys know, we had like a major snowstorm. I don't even know, man, like 6 weeks ago. It was crazy. And now finally it looks like we're going into summer. We're supposed to like finally start hitting 80 plus degrees this week. And then I think by next week we actually hit 90. And the crazy part about that is like everywhere else in the US, I think has had like an extreme heat wave, and we've had the total opposite. So I have been trying to get outside every day and really expose a bunch of my skin to the sun. And yeah, I mean, just soak up the sun. So that's the first thing. The second thing I wanted to say to you guys is that I have not done a live stream in a long time. for just like a lot of different reasons. But I'm actually planning on going live on Instagram twice in the next week. So if you are early to watching this video and you're not watching it like down the line in the future, and you're watching it when it comes out, 2 times this week, I'm planning on going live on Instagram. I want to go live within the next like few days. I'm not positive exactly when, but that's kind of going to be a little bit of a tester because I haven't done it in a while, and I want to do like a Q&A type situation on Instagram. But then I also wanted to let you guys know that on Wednesday, I am actually going live with a guy named Dale Partridge, who is a pastor. He also is like an entrepreneur. Like, he's run a couple of businesses that are they are based around like Christian principles or Christian products. And so I'm actually planning on doing a live stream with him on Wednesday to discuss the gospel. And the point of it is basically trying to explain or figure out how to convey the gospel in a concise, straightforward way. You know, I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like a lot of Christians don't really know how to do that, how to actually convey it in a concise way. And actually, I spoke to Dale a few weeks ago, and I was saying that to him. I was like, I don't know that I have the words to, once again, explain it in a concise way. So he actually launched this thing called Mail the Gospel, and they're basically gospel mailers that can be sent to people, and they're beautiful. They can be sent to people either anonymously, or you can say it's from you. So the point of the conversation is not only to share these mailers, but also just discuss how you share the gospel. And so I'm planning on doing that with him on Wednesday on Instagram. And on that note, I just wanted to give a shout out to my previous video. If you guys missed it, I filmed a tea talk. Yes, I am back with tea talk 1 year later. I'm actually trying to get my head around the second episode now. I have a few people that have said yes that are like lined up for future episodes, but you know, coordinating everything, getting it going. It's a little bit of an ordeal, but that's where my head's at. And I'm really excited about my potential next guest. Anyways, if you didn't see that tea talk, my first tea talk in a year, I filmed it with my dad, and it's called From Atheist to Christian. Pretty self-explanatory, like the title says. My dad was actually an atheist until he was 27 years old, and then he had a pretty radical, like, face-to-face moment conversion with Christ, with God, and he became a Christian. And so I wanted to hear his story because I just did. I wanted to get it recorded. And also, I feel like I don't see a ton of those stories anymore. Like, most of what I feel like I see online has to do with deconstruction, or turning away from faith. And I felt like, you know, I know my dad's heart, and I knew the gist of his story and how powerful it was. So I really wanted to share that with you guys. And if you guys can't watch the video, or sometimes people say that they're like on a train or a bus or whatever, it is actually available on podcast as well, on Spotify and iTunes. And so if you want to stream it that way, you can listen as well. So yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to that. And then the last thing is, I wanted to hype you guys up because on Tuesday, I am uploading a sourdough bagel video. I have been so obsessed with my sourdough bagels, and a bunch of you guys have asked me to share it. So I finally filmed like a full tutorial recipe video, and so that video should be up on Tuesday. So yeah, guys, that is pretty much it. Don't really have much else to say. I hope that you enjoyed this chatty part. And I did notice in my last video that the person who asked me the question about moving to Idaho, and now I'm blanking on your name, but you know who you are because I just read your comment last night. You said you were excited that I was like responding to your question, and that your husband was like, she's talking to you. That's right, I'm talking to you. So I just wanted to say, if any of you guys have thoughts, questions, comments, feel free to leave them down below, because I'm kind of liking, and let me know if you're liking this rhythm of like me just hopping in to talk to you guys as well in day in my life and just give my thoughts and stuff. I'm in the truck today because I knew I wanted to talk for a while. Oh, the car's shutting off. And Logie is full of life this morning. I knew I wasn't going to get more than like, I don't even know, 4 sentences in. So that's why I came to the car. But yeah, I'm going to go now, and that's it. So yeah, guys, that is it for this video. I will leave all of the relevant links that I can remember to leave down below. If I forget any, please tell me in the comments. And particularly, feel free to check out my Mercari shop link, where I will be listing tons of shoes and clothing items. And also you can check out my Patreon. I will, God willing, see you guys back here soon with another new video. Bye.